How's it going, you beautiful sons of guns? My name is Dapper and welcome back to the Monthly Brew. This month I decided to change it up and actually get something from the coffee shop on campus, and I decided to get a breve with hazelnut in it. And my associate here, Sir Skillingsworth, he decided to get a black coffee. Cheers, buddy. Okay, initial thoughts. Overall, it's pretty tame, but it is really nice, honestly, at the same time. It doesn't have too much of a punch, and that's kind of expected considering it's a breve. For those who don't know, a breve is actually a latte with steamed half and half in it, and the hint of hazelnut is very, very light, which is why I decided to get it with the breve, because it just overall has this kind of more of like just an enjoyable taste to it, and less more about the punch itself. How's that coffee there, buddy? He likes his coffee like he likes his women. He doesn't get much coffee. Listen, if you think I take my coffee a little bit too seriously, let me tell you a story about something I did one time. There was a while back when I was on campus, and I decided to go back to the Chapman Dining, which is essentially the dining hall where you can eat and all that. It's pretty nice. Well, sorta. Sometimes it's nice. But anyways, I noticed that they had some desserts, and I decided to get a nice little, chocolate cake, because I haven't had cake in a while, you know. I rarely eat sweets myself, so I thought it'd be a nice little treat to have. However, the moment I got it, the first thing that popped into mind is I need to have a cup of coffee with this if I'm going to enjoy it properly. But then I got into this dilemma where I didn't want to use their coffee because the coffee there at the Chapman Dining was just not on par. And I didn't want to go back to my room because I didn't have the right stuff to actually make myself something really good, you know. So pretty much what I ended up deciding to do is taking that piece of cake I got and taking it all the way across campus to the coffee shop so I could get some coffee for it, because I had to have the right atmosphere with the right type of coffee and the right type of dessert addition that was going to go with that coffee. So if you think I take my coffee too seriously, you're right. Anyway, with the coffee being out of the way, you might be wondering, Cody, where the heck did you go? Yeah, just a lot of stuff happened in a very small amount of time, and it became a very stressful situation for me, where it was essentially one thing after another, and I kind of just needed a break from the world for a bit, so I pretty much fell off the earth for a bit. I mean, I kind of just went to my own little tiny hobbies that I did on the side, and I kind of just enjoyed myself for a while. Got away from my organization stuff, got away from YouTube for a bit, and honestly, it was pretty beneficial. I think everybody should take a little bit of time off occasionally, as it is a healthy thing to do nowadays. Especially with everything going on, you know? I mean, with all this COVID stuff going on, everybody's really under a lot of stress, and I think it's really important to really take care of yourself from time to time. In fact, now that I think of it, I'm pretty sure Mental Wealth Day is coming up pretty soon, so I think it's a good time to say, take a break, man. You deserve it too, everyone out there. You just need to take care of yourself sometimes. Then again, not everything during that time was exactly stressful, and that's where the title actually comes into play. You see, I was a part of a comic, and I didn't even know this. To give you a little bit more information on what the heck I'm talking about, well, during this time when I was having all this stuff going on, I actually went to my Airsoft event, which is a really big thing that's based around Fallout. You guys probably already know how much I love Fallout, as I already made a guide about it for no reason whatsoever other than the fact that I love this game. These Airsoft events are actually revolving around the world of Fallout, and we actually have a little bit of roleplay that comes into play as well, where we actually use bottle caps so you can buy ammo, you can get armor pieces and everything, and we have the different factions from the world of Fallout going against one another. It's a lot of fun, and as a NPC, quote unquote, I actually get to act in all this, which gets into my theater side where I love to act and all that. So honestly, it's a really, really fun time for me. However, one thing I did not actually know of is the fact that there's a person that is actually currently making a comic that's based off of the Joplin Wasteland, as it's called, because that's where our Airsoft events are. It's set up in this abandoned water park called the Town of Wattapah, and it's a lot of freaking awesomeness. Yeah, this one individual that actually comes to the Airsoft games decided to start making a comic based off of the world that is Joplin Wasteland, and I think it's really cool, honestly. And obviously, I myself am a part of that comic. He takes pictures of the games and he actually uses them as information to use in his stories. And overall, I can really appreciate that. So yeah, you will probably see it as the thumbnail and or a picture that's going to be right over Skellington's face. Sorry about that, buddy. And yeah, there you go. There's me. If I recall correctly, I'm pretty sure this is a picture of the character named Ryder that I made a while back. During these whole ordeals, I get really attached to my characters, and I put a lot of work into them, and Ryder is no different. He's kind of a character based off of sort of like Handsome Jack from Borderlands, but then you add a spice of Mad Max and a few other things in there, and you just have this amalgamation of not caring about anything. The guy is sick and tired of killing people. He just wants to play with people and toy with them, and it's a lot of fun, especially because, like I said, I get to act through this whole event, and it is so much fun. In other news, during this whole time where I was de-stressing, I decided to get into a few different games, and one of them is a game called Barotrauma, which I will definitely be playing on this channel soon. Barotrauma is essentially a game where you are a part of a crew of a submarine, and you are on the, I think it's the moon of Jupiter called Europa, and essentially you obviously do submarine things. It's a rather simplistic idea, but the thing that I really love about it is, and I hate to put a pun here, there's a lot of depth to the game. Get it? Get it? Because submarines and whatever, sorry. Yeah, every single role that's a part of the crew is very important to the survival of everybody on the submarine. So it takes a lot of teamwork, and that becomes it causes these situations where shit can just hit the fan real quick. In fact, here's another story for Cody's story time apparently this month, and that is the time where I barely saved my crew from impending doom. Pretty much there was a situation where we were stuck between a rock and a hard spot, and by a rock and a hard spot, I mean that there's a rock, a hard spot, a dumbbell's about to fall on my head, pretty sure that guy has a gun, is that lava I see? And oh my god, it's flooding with water. Yeah, it was a no bueno situation, and I happened to be the captain of the submarine at the time, and everybody was panicking. Pretty much we were given the objective to take down something called a Moloch, and essentially that's just a giant jellyfish with a huge freaking shell on it. I guess that's the only way I can explain it. And during this little quest that we had, things did not work according to plan. Like seriously, we were into a situation where we were getting hit by glaciers, we were constantly getting bombarded by enemies, and they were attacking us at our blind spot so we couldn't even protect ourselves. Not to mention the fact we were running low on fuel, and we were running out of welding tanks. So yeah, it wasn't that great. However, all this time when everybody's panicking about how we're going to die, I was just sitting there analyzing the whole situation. Like, I was the captain of the ship, as I said before, and I wasn't panicking at all. This was actually like quite invigorating for me, because even though this was like an insanely stressful situation, I almost felt challenged to get us out of this, which I did. Pretty much the turning point, I think, was when we were pretty much floating over lava and we're sinking rapidly. And what I decided to do in this situation was literally ram the ship into a wall to halt us. It was so cool, honestly, and it ended up killing some of the enemies too, which is great. But after that, I commanded some of the people to calm down and tell them to go outside to finish off the rest of the crawlers, which then caused it so we could finally fix the submarine and stop sinking, of course. After that, we kind of got out of the situation, and it became this really like intense moment where I had to like turn off the sensors and turn them on and kind of like float blindly through the water to make sure that we wouldn't get attacked again by enemies, because we couldn't survive another attack. At this exact same time, they didn't know half of what was actually going on, and that was something that I kept to myself during this whole ordeal. For those who don't know, there's something called water pressure, and yeah, that was a horrible thing for us. To give you an idea, the farther you get into water, obviously the more pressure there is on you, and there's something called crush depth for submarines. In this situation, the submarine that we had was usually typically 1,500 to 2,000 meters. That's typically the crush depth, and during this whole ordeal, we happened to be at a whopping 1,600. There was even a time where the actual bottom lights of the submarine decided to pop, and yeah, that's not a good sign. They didn't actually figure this out until pretty much we got out of the situation that we were in, so luckily there wasn't any reason to panic anymore. But one of the newcomers actually saw that they survived crush depth, which was an achievement, and then the veteran came over and checked the helm to see how far down we were, and he was just like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "Yeah, I've been looking at this the whole time while you all were panicking, and I couldn't say a damn thing, because I knew you'd probably panic even more." And he's just like, "Thank you, Captain." I was like, yeah, that's what I thought. Now get back to your freaking place. But yeah, at the end of the day, we survived this whole endeavor. And you might be thinking, Cody, why would you want to play a game so stressful? And let me tell you, little Timmy, that's the best part about it. You know, there's a good moral to the story, and that's the fact that one thing I've learned in life is that stress can be a good thing or a bad thing, and when you use it in a good way, it can really motivate you to get out of bad situations, like the whole Barotrauma incident. It didn't matter how low of a chance we actually had of surviving. What mattered is that I felt challenged and I felt invigorated trying to get out of that situation. Everybody screaming their heads off, the whole world is just crumbling apart, and I loved every bit of it. So yeah, try to make stress a good thing for you, and you'll probably enjoy life a little bit more. Anyways, the only thing I can really talk about now is probably a game called Genshin Impact, which is another game that I actually got into recently. Genshin Impact is actually a game very similar, and I think it's heavily inspired by Zelda Breath of the Wild, and it is just a lot of fun to explore. I don't know, man. There's something really, really cool about the game that I just can't put my finger on why I like it. I mean, it's just really weird how I'm just... Yes, I know that it's another anime game, but honestly, at the end of the day, I don't care how much of a degenerate I am. It's so much fun. Like, this game not only has like good storytelling, amazing waifus, and also a great world to explore, but it is just so fun and entertaining to play too. Like, I low-key became addicted, and not to mention the fact that it is cross-platform, so you can play with your friends on any platform, and that's awesome. Listen, I know I just said this, but let me just say again that the waifus are amazing, because like, oh my god. Noelle is definitely by far best girl, and I'm probably just being impartial because I have a thing for like white-haired girls, as you probably know by Amelia, but either way, you know, I digress. Anyways, I should probably stop myself before I go into another tangent about waifus, so I'm just gonna end this here. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. It's always a pleasure to entertain you guys and keep you updated on things. Videos will be coming out normally as usual now because the whole break and everything's over. And yeah, I'll just catch you later. As always, my friends, stay dapper.